Happy New Year. Okay guys, when I posted that video about like signs from heaven and how I know for sure there's an afterlife, and I really do, it was a very meaningful video to me, but I also referenced in that video that there were some other things that have happened that I may share at another time. And based on the response to that first video, I've decided to share one of those stories. That's for a couple reasons. Number one, I love telling stories. And this is, in my opinion, one of the best examples of this. There has to be something else out there. But number two, there's also actually a very strong tie-in to cats and to what I want to do, I think longer term with this channel. And I think it will benefit a lot of people. So, in honor of the new year, I've got my coffee made with a new barista kit that I got. I have my cat, who I am going to give a treat. And I'm going to tell you a story, one of the coolest things that both has ever happened to me, but also I really hope that someone else would be able to say it's one of the coolest things that ever happened to them because it makes me feel really good inside. Okay, where do I begin? So I've mentioned multiple times on this channel that I like the Colorado Rockies. I am in fact a season ticket holder, and this is something that my family has done since literally day one of the team. I grew up this way. I am now an adult, I have my own set of season tickets, but my family still has theirs. We go to a ton of games, blah, blah, blah. I am pretty involved in the Rockies community. I do not work for the team, to be clear, never have. But I know a ton of people who do. I know a lot of people who work at the stadium. I know a lot of other fans. This is through various ways, both by virtue of being a fan. We have been to fantasy camp. We go to a lot of special events. I'm not shy. So, throughout the years, I have met lots of interesting fans, and I am going to, as I tell this story, not quite share all the details because I do want to protect the privacy of this person. So how exactly we met really isn't even relevant. This person is another Rockies season ticket holder. He has a disability that literally makes it really difficult for him. It's a physical, and I don't know if it's actually mental, but it's a disability that makes it very difficult for him to work. And so he, at a young age, doesn't work, is on disability, and that doesn't pay a ton, and obviously it's expensive to live, but he literally scrapes together every last extra cent and pays for one season ticket to the Rockies, kind of in an obstructed view section, but it is his outlet. Like, literally, that is all he does in terms of entertainment. Like, he doesn't go out to eat, he doesn't go to movies, he doesn't take trips, he literally, all his extra discretionary funds go to this one ticket. And in talking to him, he told me that the team is like his surrogate family because he is in fact estranged from his own. And I don't know all the details about why, but I could tell that it's very, very, very painful for him emotionally, and it kind of sounds like it had to do a little bit with his parents not being able to accept his disability super well. That's his version that he told me, an impression I got. But regardless, the hurt that caused was super obvious. And so the team essentially is a surrogate family. He, like myself, knew a ton of people, interacted with coaches, players, the people who sat around him. Like, as a season ticket holder, I can tell you the people who sit around you are like your family. Like, you absolutely love them, you get to know them, you look forward to seeing them, you learn about their lives. Well, in fact, the people who sat around him are his surrogate family. And so the team, I mean, I'm a big fan. I honestly would put him at a level above me. Super passionate, super enthusiastic, and they mean so much to him. Well, you know, cost of living has not been exactly cheap lately, and especially in the past few years, it's really, really gone up. Well, there came a point where cost of living got to be so high that even with the scrimping and saving he was doing, he could not afford his season ticket. And he posted about this on social media a lot, which is where I first learned of this. And he was devastated, but he had this plan, and I was actually impressed by it, where he was going to step back for 2 years, save extra, and then hopefully come back to the team in 2 years as a season ticket holder. And I think because I learned so much about his story, this really captured my heart. Like, wow. I mean, I felt for the guy. I really did. And it occurred to me one day, and literally this is just out of the blue, and it's kind of a personal philosophy. I have always been somebody who, when it comes to giving back, I like to be directly involved. There's absolutely nothing wrong with charities. I support them. There's amazing causes out there. But my personal opinion is rather than send a check to a charity where I don't really have any control over how it's used or get to see the benefits of that, I prefer to be hands on. And I was out driving one day and it literally just popped into my mind this idea: I should buy his season ticket for him. And this is an idea I had to sit with because, that's a big undertaking. And it was just out of the blue, and it's like, I could buy it and then I could have the team surprise him with it. And I knew when the idea popped into my head that I wanted to do it. I think it took me a little bit of time to kind of work through do I really want to spend that much money and, that part of it, because, money for any of us isn't like an unlimited thing. And at that time, if I remember correctly, and I do, I had just gotten a check from a client. I have a little small business, and I'd gotten a check from a client, and there was a certain amount of that check that, I always allocate my money to like what I need to spend, what I save, what I invest, and whatever's left I kind of blow off and just have fun with. And that was kind of like the have fun portion where it's like, okay, I could use that and I could buy his ticket. And so I called the team and I asked about availability. This was the very beginning of the season. And as it turned out, the seat was still available. And so that's exactly what I did. I bought his ticket, and I didn't want to be identified as the person who did it, but I had the team call him out of the blue and surprise him with the news that an anonymous donor had purchased his ticket and that he was in fact going to be able to come back as a season ticket holder for that year. Now, I did not do this for the recognition. Literally, I genuinely wanted to do something kind, but I have to be honest, when I saw on social his posts of joy after he received that ticket, it was extremely rewarding. And I think that is the fun of giving back, is you get to see the difference you make in people's lives and you get to see the concrete benefit. And it honestly, I would argue that it was just as enjoyable to do what I did and watch that as it would have been to receive that. Again, I actually really didn't share this story with many people at all until much later, but it was just such a random thing. And anyway, the tie-in and the sign from the universe that really does show me that there's something else out there is that very day that I purchased that ticket, I was out with a friend of mine who incidentally had adopted a cat, and we went to go pick up this cat at a PetSmart that is nowhere near my house. It wasn't super far away, but it was nowhere near where I normally go. And so we're out picking up this cat, and because I was nowhere near my house, I stopped at a gas station that I don't normally stop at. And on a whim, I decided to buy 2 $10 crossword scratch tickets, which I don't play a ton of lottery scratch, but when I do, it is almost always a $10 scratch ticket. And I bought them and I threw them in my car, and because we were out with the cat, I kind of forgot about them till later in the day. And you guys, when I got home and scratched that ticket, I kid you not, I won back near to the dollar the exact amount I had just spent on his ticket. And I cannot logically explain that. It was a big win. And it was the day that it happened. And it's there's somebody up there that was watching out for me, that was rewarding me for helping him, that had my back, that wanted to show me that they were on my side. I'm not sure how to word it, except for that's just one example of many things in my life that I don't think coincidence explains. And even if you do think that's a coincidence, when you have 5, 6, 7 things that have that eerie coincidence nature behind them, eerie in a good way, by the way, you just begin to realize there's definitely something else out there. And so, to this day, that for me remains a very strong sign. I am so grateful that I was able to step in and help. And again, I wasn't looking for the opportunity, it presented itself to me. So what does this all mean for this channel? Honestly thought this would be a cool story to tell, to introduce the fact that I've been giving a lot of thought to longer term, where do I want to take things? And I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing, all the cat content, all the cat sitting, which by the way, I have a recap video coming of 2024 cat sitting, which turned out to be literally the busiest and most transformative year of my life, pet sitting wise, and lots to share there. But I really ultimately want to use this channel to do good, to help other cats and animals. It is such an important piece of my heart and who I am. And there's so many ways that you can give back and help animals. And, you know, if it was up to me, I would wave a magic wand and there would be literally no more homeless, abused, or in need animals. And there's so many amazing people out there doing such great work. I think one thing that's really stood out to me and that I've heard multiple stories about lately and kind of had a little bit of personal experience with based on Katniss's IBD journey, and then a family member had a really severe incident with a dog that just racked up just a ton of medical bills. It's just the number of stories I've heard of people whose pets run into medical situations and they are unable to cover the bill. And a lot of times the choices when you're unable to cover the bill aren't great. And it breaks my heart. And I really want to start giving back. And I'm thinking that maybe I could start something where on a regular basis, and frankly, I don't know what that means yet, monthly, quarterly, 2 times a year. I don't know at this stage because it's still in the thinking stage, but I would like to be able to directly contribute to getting medical care for animals whose owners may not otherwise be able to do so. And so that is definitely, with time, where this is headed, is at least some of proceeds that I make from various avenues are going to head toward that. And I want to highlight these stories and share them because I believe, like, I want to be the change I want to see in the world. And again, giving back is just a huge part of who I am. And so I'm just kind of babbling at this stage. I don't have a lot of concrete specifics, but I wanted to hop on here for the new year and share this with you because I've been really reflecting a lot about changes I want to see in my life and where things are headed. And this is a piece of it. I had a really painful loss of a cat, more than one in my life, as anybody who loves pets probably has. I think there's a piece of me that feels when I'm helping another animal in need in particular, I'm kind of making up for what I couldn't fix with that situation. So that might also be a piece of it. But regardless, stay tuned for more on this because it will happen. And even if it starts really small, it's going to be every little thing that I'm able to do that benefits. It's just going to be, you know, one more step toward good that, you know, might not have otherwise been taken. So that's about it for today, guys. I know I've babbled a lot. I actually have been thinking that one thing I would like to do on this channel is hop on a little bit more and tell some more casual stories about some really meaningful things in addition to all the other content. And I may just start adding that randomly, like coffee and Katniss, or I'm not sure. But anyway, I hope everybody's New Year is off to an amazing start. Let's have 2025 be the best possible for everyone. If you make resolutions, I'd love to hear yours. Drop it below. I personally, this is one of mine, start making a difference for good, and that's what I'm going to do.